Andrée, if you can, start off by talking to me about what got you into the oil and gas industry, what motivated you, and what keeps you here.
Thank you for asking, Jessica. Basically, I was kind of a science nerd in high school. I loved nature, I loved the outside, so studying geology was just very natural for me. And I thought if I could combine my love for the earth and geology with a profession, even better. It would be a huge win. I also had a dad that was a geologist, so I knew it could be done. So watching him and his career really did inspire me. Being able to then live through the energy debates that were going on while I was in school also made me realize the value of energy and what it brings to us as a society. And you know, there are a lot of people that have come before us that have provided for us through that, and I wanted to be part of that effort as well. So, you know, that's what brought me into it. That's what I really loved. What keeps me here is the fact that it is a fascinating business. I mean, in my 35 short years of my career, we've seen it change from conventional exploration to technology advancements in 3D seismic and other things that have come along the way, and then this whole unconventional wave. So to be able to be part of that and that change throughout my career has been what's really kept me motivated.
I like that take on it too, being able to see the debates the way you said and really kind of dive into it. Tell me now, you know, with going through your career, your day-to-day right now, can you talk to us a little bit about that?
So my day-to-day now is never the same. And that's one of the things, again, that I like about this industry is it is very dynamic. So in the course of my day as the unconventional development manager for ExxonMobil, I've got several teams that report to me, and we serve as the overarch for all of the business lines. So I've got the acquisitions and divestitures team, so working transactions to make sure that our portfolio works. We've actually developed a portfolio strategy for unconventionals. I've got the reserves team, I've got the technology team, as well as the coordination role for our Bangalore Technology Center, which is a business enabler. And then I've got the functions that report to me, so geology and geophysics, the geosciences, reservoir engineer, and land. And again, my team sort of creates the ability to move learnings across the business and help to build efficiencies within the business. Again, no 2 days are ever the same. And now at this point in my career, I spend a lot of time in meetings, I'll be honest with you, but seeing how it can impact the business is still one of the things that drives me every day.
How do you balance it all? This seems like a lot on your plate.
There is a lot on my plate. And I would say the balance comes with the people that you surround yourself with. And I'm blessed to be surrounded by fantastic people. I'm part of a big team. And it all feels like we're pulling in the same direction. I mean, our environment is super challenged right now, as I'm sure all of your listeners know. I mean, we're back at a time again where it's very challenging. Mm-hmm. So making sure that we are building efficiencies and bringing value to our shareholders is really what motivates everybody today.
Can you talk to me, Andrée, about your biggest challenge or risk if you think back over your career?
This is always kind of a hard question for me because I look at my career being really motivated by two dynamics. One is doing the best thing for my family, and then doing the best thing for my profession. Yeah. I was fortunate in that early days I had a mentor, a female mentor, my first boss, who I watched balance that family and profession and really struggled with it. And regrettably, she left the industry because the family pressures were just too high. And that was a risk, obviously, for me. We wanted to start a family, my husband and I, and so we very early on learned we're going to have to adapt. We aren't going to be able to assume those conventional roles, and it worked for us. I mean, we have 3 children. I've been able to have a successful career, but it's no credit to my effort. It's credit to the people that I have around me.
Again, the team effort.
Again, the team effort in business and in life. Mm-hmm. And so the part that drove me on the professional side really is that team. I mean, I showed up as a geoscientist, not as a woman in each of these situations. And so as a geoscientist and as an avid learner, I always wanted to know well, what are the other parts of the equation? I mean, what are the engineers bringing to the part? The reservoir engineers, the operations engineers. Some of my best learnings were from my drilling engineers. And then working with landmen, working with regulatory environments, understanding how what they do influences what I do, and doing it together is building the success case. And so that to me has really been not a risk, but an absolute blessing for being a part of this industry.
This transitions into my next question. Hearing you talking about balancing it all, do you have any advice for younger professionals, younger women in the industry trying to find their way?
For all young people, whatever it is, whatever industry you're walking into, especially this one, is really understand what drove you here to begin with. If you have a passion for whatever your discipline is, I mean, mine was geoscience. I love nature. I love being outside. I love the fascinating earth. And that has helped sustain me through my career, because if you don't have that passion, it really is hard to stick with it. So that's my first bit of advice. My second bit of advice would be to be an avid learner. Never stop learning. I mean, this is a fascinating, fast-paced business, and innovation and technology is driving it to completely different spaces than we were, through my career, watching my dad's career, and continue to advance. I mean, learn the technology, learn the tools, and use them in your daily life. And those would be my two bits of advice. Have a passion for what you studied, and be an avid learner.
And you mentioned having a mentor early on in your career. How important do you think that is for women in the industry? Women, period, I guess, and men. Yeah. But how important do you think mentors are?
So for me, I would say mentors largely shaped my career. I didn't realize how much until I actually reflected on it through time, but finding those people who you admire and you like their work styles and you see how they interface with people, those have been always the people I gravitated towards. They may not have even known they were my mentors at the time, but I learned so much from them. I mean, I mentioned one case already with my female boss that was a mentor. A couple of years later, I had other female mentors who were successfully navigating family and career and executive roles. I knew it wasn't easy for them, but it did set the tone that, yes, it is achievable. So that for me was very important. And then there's some life lessons that I would say mentors brought to my career, and the first being in graduate school, my thesis advisor, I almost turned down a job in 1987. Very much like the industry is today, very challenging, very, very much a downturn. I almost turned it down, and he was like, let me just tell you one thing, one bit of advice, you're gonna say yes. And that was a huge impact of a mentor that, he understood something that I didn't understand or appreciate, and if without that bit of advice, I would not be sitting here today.
Very interesting. I like that. You never know.
You never know.
Can you talk to us about being chosen as this talented group of women, one of the 25 influential women in energy? What does it mean to you, and really how important do you think programs like this are?
For me, I'm humbled by this honor. I mean, it is truly an honor, and I accepted because I wanted to represent all those people I've talked about up to this time. It's not an individual thing for me. It is a team effort. And so I show up here today knowing that I represent a big team. The visibility that it creates for other people, I think, has a lot of value. I mean, you all shine a light on the opportunities that are given everybody in the industry. Women is one component. But we all have to show up as our best selves to make this industry work, and I think that this highlights the fact that those opportunities are out there for everyone else. The other light that these kinds of events shine on is the work that we do as a profession. I mean, energy is so critical to the human equation, and being a part of that and pushing that forward is really critical. So I hope it inspires people to come into the energy business, to think about what you can do for humanity. The next generation is going to have challenges in front of them, and I can't wait to see what they do.
We really appreciate you sharing your story with us, and congratulations on this well-deserved honor.
Thank you so much,
You're
Jessica.
Very welcome. And for Heart Energy, I'm Jessica Morales.